Thank you, Representative. The motion on the floor is to amend the proposed resolution by deleting the word present in the third line of section 4 and insert the word appointed. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Is there any objection to the motion? Yes. All right, there's an objection to the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Appears that the ayes have it. Thank you. You know, on City Council, no one ever voted on the second time, so that's the problem. 8 years, never had a second. We're going to do that again. The motion on the floor is to insert the word appointed for the word present. Delete the word present in the third line of section 4. Section 4, and insert the word appointed. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying nay. Nay. Well, that's loud. Yeah, hold on a second. Thank you. All right, what we're going to do today, because this is could have everyone's attention. What we're going to do on this motion, we're going to take a roll call by state. We're going to allow the states, all of the states, including those who don't have appointed members to vote, because this is a procedural motion, and we think it's appropriate, since these folks are here, to do that. We will stand at ease for 1 minute or less.
I ask that you consider some amendments to line 3 in section 4 of the proposed resolution. Those amendments would be as follows: to insert the word elected in front of the word members on line 3. After the word members, insert the language of their respective legislative body. That's all.
Is there a second to that motion? All right, second from Tennessee. Thank you very much. Motion and the second. The question on the floor is as follows: to insert the words in section 4, line 3, the word elected for the word members, and after the word members on line 3, of their respective legislative bodies. Is that correct, Representative Welch? All right, who would like to speak to the motion? Go ahead, Wyoming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Eric Barlow, Wyoming. So my question is, we have an election between now and the next assembly. So are we elected, or are we currently serving? That's a clarification for the bringer of the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Long, Senator Long, did you want to comment about this motion? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Assembly. We can nitpick this to death, obviously, but it did occur to me, to the gentleman who made the motion, that perhaps current rather than elected, because we have situations where we've caucused people in to a position. Now, theoretically, they haven't been elected by the masses or anything. So, currently serving might be achieve what your goal is, and maybe also deal with the concern the gentleman from Wyoming had as well. Just a comment, maybe you could respond to that.
All right, could either Representative Welch or Senator Long restate what, first I'll ask you to withdraw your amendment and ask Tennessee to withdraw their second. Thank you. And if you'd like to make another motion then.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Long. And thank you to the gentleman that made this point that came just a moment ago. The motion then would be, I would make the motion and ask for a favorable consideration of that motion, in that line 3 of section 4, that the words currently serving be inserted in front of the word members, and after the word members, the following language be inserted: of their respective legislative bodies. And
a second again from Tennessee. Again, the motion is to, in section 4 of the proposed resolution, line 3, before the word members, insert the word words currently serving, and after the word members, insert the words of their respective legislative bodies. Is there discussion on that motion? Representative or Senator Hagedorn, and then
I greatly appreciate the intent. However, I think the second insertion of the line of their respective legislative bodies is in conflict with the line above that says a bipartisan delegation of at least 3 members. And if we say of their respective legislative bodies, then we're talking about 6, except for one state who has a bicameral, or excuse me, who doesn't have a bicameral, which would then be 3. So I think that lends to the confusion that we had in the last letter that was sent out. I think if we just leave it at currently serving, and we say 3, let the leadership of both of those bodies figure out those 3 that should come. Thank you.
thank you.
That simplifies it.
What's that?
Representative Jerry Hurtauz from Minnesota. I would just add to that same thing. It was similarly my concern. If I go back to our Speaker of House, or the leaders will ask, then are we appointing 6 rather than 3? So I think we need some clarification on that.
All right. Representative Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the gentlemen that have made these editorial comments. It could be, we could insert the word at least, of there, at least 3 could be inserted.
It's already
That's already there. I personally didn't see the confusion, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist for some of the various legislatures that are here. One suggestion was maybe of their respective state legislatures, but I don't know that really solves the issue. My sense of it is that we're not setting a cap as to how many you could send. So if the governing bodies of those particular states decided to interpret that to mean 3, then I don't see how that really harms this discussion. The way I read it, and my intent here is to ensure that the people that are coming to these assemblies are elected officials in the legislative branch of their respective states. So the purpose here is certainly to restrain this to elected legislative individuals, not to staff members, not to some other delegated appointed person that may not have the interest of their respective populations back home. Also, it could be inferred that a member of the executive branch might be sent here, and I don't think that's an appropriate statement. So that's why I'm adding the clarifying language.
Thank you, Representative, and come forward. Some of you, if I'm not announcing your names, I apologize for that, but if you could announce your position and state.
Brian Kelsey, Senator, Tennessee. I would offer to the gentleman from Georgia that perhaps he withdraw that motion and offer one to say currently serving state legislators.
Is there another speaker? Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Motion on the floor is to insert the word currently serving before the word members in section 4, line 3 of the proposed resolution, and further to insert the words of their respective legislative bodies after the word members. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by, well, first, is there an objection to the motion? It's an objection. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed signify by saying nay. We now have an amended resolution on the floor. Would anyone wish to speak to the amended resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to present for the consideration of the body in Section 2, motion to amend at the second line, the language that says outside the responsibilities given to Congress. I would move that we amend that to state more affirmatively in active voice, being a power never delegated to Congress, but reserved to the states. And I'd like to speak to that just briefly.
Proceed.
Thank you. We had a great deal of discussion in our committee yesterday about jurisdiction. The good senator from Missouri brought that up, that being a very critical matter to us. We talk about policy very frequently, but really it is the matter of jurisdiction, the power delegated by the people within their respective spheres, and the two governments control each other as a double security of the rights of the people, Madison said. James Madison, in presenting the Bill of Rights to Congress, said that members of the state legislatures will jealously and closely watch the operations of the national government and be able to resist with more effect every assumption of power better than any power on earth can do, because they are the sure guardians of the people's liberty. I would suggest that we make this more active voice, asserting our powers, and submit that for your consideration.
Could
Please
the
repeat
chair have
the
the
language.
the language of the amendment for purposes of making that clear to the body? There's been a motion and a second. Anyone wish to speak to that motion? Does that mean hurry up and vote? Oh, please restate the motion. Actually, I'm going to ask the move-in to restate the motion because I can't read your handwriting.
I had one secretary that had the secret spy decoder ring to my handwriting. Online, in Section 2, line 2, striking the words outside the responsibilities given to Congress, replacing them with the following: being a power never delegated to Congress, but reserved to the states.
Does anyone wish further clarification of the motion? Does anyone wish to discuss the motion? Representative Dean from Minnesota.